Hey, so last year I made a video covering 13 tips for new players to Guild Wars 2. That's neat and all. You know what's better than 13 tips? 13 more tips. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when the next one gets uploaded. Oh, and also follow me on Twitter. I want to try plugging that for once. Without any further ado though, let's get into it. Tip number 1. It's always a good idea to grab waypoints. Not only do they let you port around the map, but they also are what let you respawn when you die. Tip number 2. If you die and you see the words "A noble soul is healing you" when you go into your map to respawn, it means another player is resing you, so don't waypoint. Unless you're in a big open world boss fight, then you should definitely 100% respawn. Bosses are scaled up with the amount of players that are around them, so if you're dead, then the boss is scaled up, but your damage is not there to contribute to it, which makes the boss overall harder, because a person that's dead is not a body that's doing damage. And if you're not doing damage, the boss's health is not going down as fast as it could. So make sure if you're fully dead on a world boss or any other kind of meta event, you are respawning, especially because it takes a lot more time to res someone fully dead while in combat and out of combat. Tip number 3. If you ever see an enemy with the bar underneath their health, that is a break bar. If that bar turns blue, use the crowd control effects to deplete it. Crowd control skills are things like stuns, knockbacks, knockdowns, fears, launches, and dazes. Tip number 4. You can instantly open a reward chest or clear a finish heart icon by right-clicking it. This does skip any dialog boxes that appear, but this is just a way to receive your rewards faster without having to do an extra click. Tip number 5. Try to match armor and weapon prefixes to make sure that you're putting matching stats onto your character. The more matching stat prefixes that you have, the more effective you will be at the specific build you want to be. Tip number 6. If you click these buttons at the top of your inventory, this one lets you deposit your materials directly into your material storage, and this one lets you compact your inventory so everything is sitting next to each other. You can access your material storage by going to any banker NPC in any city. Tip number 7. Get an invisible bag if you can. It allows you to place items inside of it that will never show in the sell menus, be compacted, or be deposited into your storage as long as they remain in the bag. This is very good for holding onto items you don't want to lose, or things that you're not sure you have to keep or not. Tip number 8. If you're struggling to make a jump in a jumping puzzle, try using a skill that applies swiftness to you. Swiftness increases jump distance as well as movement speed. Just be careful if you aren't used to the movement physics in the game yet, because it can also make it easy to overjump things. You should also use swiftness to get around the world in general. It'll help you a lot with map completion, especially when you don't have a mount yet. Tip number 9. Inventory management at low levels can be one of the most annoying things to deal with in the game, but just know that if you loot items that are called trophies, you can go to a merchant and click sell junk to sell those in bulk to the merchant. It should help a little bit with managing your inventory until you can get bigger bags. Tip number 10. Gameplay wise, it's a lot better for you to go into settings and disable double tap to dodge, and instead bind a comfortable key to it. Because if you're not careful, you can dodge roll off a jumping puzzle and die. And I'm sure you would rather prefer to die in combat than to die to gravity. Tip number 11. If you look underneath an enemy's health bar, it will tell you a little bit about what the enemy does. If it says an enemy does something, the enemy will do it. Because of this, you can get an idea of what animation to look out for and ways you can counter what they're doing. Tip number 12. If a skill does not have a cast time, then that skill can be used in combination with other skills, which lets you do things like starting to cast an ability that does have a cast time, then using a teleport that does not have one to hit an enemy with an ability from close range all of a sudden. This is very important in PvP when it comes to classes like Thief or Guardian. Last but not least, we have tip number 13. If you click the icons to the lower right of your world map, you can change what layer of the map you are on. Sometimes this will reveal parts of the map that you cannot see on your current layer. And this can be very helpful when you're lost on trying to find that last thing on your map that you can't quite find. That's about it for this video. If you're a veteran that's watching this, leave your own tips down below, and I might use some of them for the next part. With that, see you next time.